Monarchy was only eliminated in Africa. Join me in my channel as we continue with this journey of restoring sanity and order in this beautiful continent of Africa, getting back what belongs to us, and that starts by dignity. My main area of focus in this process will be leadership, because everything goes around leadership. When you have proper leadership in place, then everything will be in order. What is it, the secret of Western world leadership that Africans are yet to realize? Because God is just in His creation. No one is intelligent than the other. We are both equal with special uniqueness. So are we going to continue fooling ourselves, or will get to where we should be and take our place? Democracy is a tool in the hands of monarch. Taking that road, let us try to understand these two systems: democracy and monarchy. Monarchy is a political system based upon the undivided sovereignty. The term applies to the state in which supreme authority is vested. The genesis of monarchy is that it was installed by God, God's commendation. While democracy, its definition is as simple as this: ruled by the people. One is placed on God and one is placed on the people. But take this: if we select a system of governance based on performance but not definition, then surely monarch will win. Even if you do not dwell on God was never wrong and do our own research, history will never lie, and the current state is before us. For example, the story of Africa before invasion was powerful in richness. The great story of Pharaoh and the Egyptians of many years ago that the world just can't get enough of, it was because of leadership of that time. If you look today, the more advancing and stable nations are headed by monarchs. Even those you think are democrats have created the invisible monarchs. And these nations include USA, Germany, France, Russia, Spain, United Arab Emirates, UK, and the list is long. If you check where Libya and Gaddafi was and you compare to now, then you will surely understand the scheme to have total control of Africa is by having an easily compromisable leadership system. And which is that, if not the installation of direct democracy? People only started hating and having negative feelings on monarchy when they heard of democracy. They went ahead to judge monarchy based on its belief but not the results. They started to equate characteristics of monarchy as dictatorial only when they had the definition of democracy and its characteristics. People have ignorantly refused to separate distinctly the two systems and look at the motive, but they have quickly settled for executive action that comes with their formations, like being above the law. For example, if you go outside there to do a survey, ask people why they prefer democracy over monarchy. Coincidentally, the famous answer is always the negativity based on the definition and characteristics of monarchy, rather than the outcome, the consequences of these characteristics, which should be the case. The answer they always give is superstitious, like, oh, they will despise and abuse us, they will enslave us, but they will never give you facts with proofs. Why? Because there is none to warrant a substitute system. From where I sit, 80% of world big economies are supported by monarchs, including the United States of America, contrary to what you think. Now that brings me to this understanding that the introduction of democracy was not on the ground as the best alternative to monarchs or about rights, but it was a well-calculated scheme to be used as a weapon to continue to destabilize and control other nations. More importantly, it was a convincing good solution for colonizers to stop holding Africans at gunpoint, but give them independence. It is raising eyebrows on how the call and fight for democracy was never witnessed in Europe and the West as seen everywhere. That tells you that it was pre-planned, but never caught them unaware. And this just proved my point, that democracy is a tool in the hands of monarchs, but not a source of leadership. If you take one Brit and one Nigerian, and ask them the benefit of democracy. The British man will barely finish half a page of the first foolscap, but the Nigerian one will complete 5 foolscaps and ask even for more. Then take the British foolscap, go to the highest point in Britain, and look the country through it. Then take the Nigerian foolscaps, holding them together, go to the highest point in Nigeria and look the country through it. Don't tell me of what you see. So going by democracy, used as a tool in the hands of monarchs, but not a source of leadership, the next question that comes to your mind is, these world big economies like USA, Russia, France, that pose like democrats, are they truly democratic from up to down? The answer is no. These Western world countries agrees on the benefits that comes with democracy when it is used as a weapon to manage their people and to control other nations like Africa. And you know why? So USA and Europe simply selling democracies. That is all they are doing. Sometimes as a man hawking weaves in the market, you'll find yourself dressing in one to attract your clients. But I'll be foolish to think that when I visit you in your house, I'll find you wearing one. A president has a vision and where he wants to take the country. But he can't do a thing until he has been given a go-ahead. He brings his agenda to the house to be voted for. Not forgetting that these people will be voting based on what they believe in, but not what they can see in position of leadership as the president. These people will not be voting based on their conscience, but on the relationship you have with them. They will be voting based on their political divide. The voting style won't be about right or wrong, but on how much do you need their votes and at what extent are you willing to go. It reaches a point that the head of state is forced to use incentives like bribes to pass a bill which is beneficial to the country. And you are here surprised of the rampant corruption in Africa, and you are dreaming that one day it shall come to an end. The end of corruption in Africa is that time that Africa shall learn that democracy is not a source of leadership, but a tool in the hands of leadership. Children will not see the need of buying books that will eventually bring many cars. They will only see money that can buy family car. And if family was to put this to a vote, then in a few years, there will be a car wreckage in the field. No new cars, no good home, not even good clothes. The unworkable democracy is that point that you feel that members of parliament and any office holder should use their common sense and just behave. If that's the case, then God will not have sent his son to die for us, because then we are perfect. This is where Monarch step in with all the characteristics you are scared of, because you just have to behave. I know many of you now think that if they get opportunity and be elected, they'll make a difference. No, that is a lie. You'll quickly dive in. Me as a Kenyan, I've seen many people who are disgusted by these malpractices and dishonesty of leaders. But when they finally get opportunity, they became the master of all. Why? Because it is not the people, but the system. As the man of the family, sometimes the everyday decision you make isolate you from the rest of the family. Mother and children lament, but because you know what you're doing and where you're taking the family, you stamp authority and the decision remains. Later they will thank you and recognize you always have the best interest of the family. Leadership is not being right by the people, but right for the cause. Leadership is not the path you take, but the path leading to. And this is always measured by the final destination. God putting you the head of the house is God supplying you with dreams and visions of where your family is heading to. If mother and children were to dictate the path family takes through voting, then no single progressive step will that family make. Democracy is still not succeeding for intended purpose in Africa for Africans, because Africans still sees democracy as a source of leadership, but not a tool in the hands of leadership. If it were for direct democracy, then the Palm Island of Dubai couldn't be a thing of today. It reached a point that the prince and the royal family are the only people who believed in it. But the world did not. Even their citizens hesitated. But also the intended motive was under attack. It was meant to boost tourism. But after the USA Twin Tower bombing, there was tension between the West, Europe, and Islamic states, leading to decline in tourism as a result of fear. The project faced controversy. It looked meaningless. And were it not for the prince and supreme authority of leadership, the project could not have been possible. The wonder of the world that I'm also hoping one day I'll experience. Leaders are meant to dream, but sometimes since we don't experience the same dream because we are not in the same position as they do, we end up being a hindrance to achieving that dream in the name of "I don't believe in that." And we go ahead and take advantage of laws binding them to put a halt to their mission. What the rest of the world know about democracy, that Africa is still blinded to know, is that leadership is not agreeing with everyone, but achieving the vision. That a leader will always have the best interests of a country. If not, then introduce democracy in household. Leadership is divine, not based on human strength or might, not based on earthly wisdom and understanding, as expressed through votes. So being that democracy was a scheme, but not alternative system of leadership, monarchy was only eliminated in Africa. That is a fact. Those big and powerful nations like USA, Russia, China, they are all monarchs. Democracy, you see them exercising, is just but a tool in the hands of monarchy. The Western world nations are being governed by the spirit and ideology of monarch. Only that they have not clothed themselves with monarchy to continue to deceive their targets. Changing a cloth does not change a person. Sometimes you just have to trick your kids for the sake of good parenting, to give them what they need, but not what they want. Democracy is a tool in the hands of monarchs, but not a source of leadership. Thank you again, I'm Bernard Kenga.